Which rotation is a squat on the way up? Okay, let's start with 101. Come on. External. Good. So, if a squat is external rotation, what is a hinge? You guys understand what a pure hinge is? Everybody understand? Don't come ask me at lunch what a hinge is. Ask me now, okay? So you bend here and everything. So, what is a hinge, for example? Everyday sports, sprinting. A sprint is a hinge, right? It's not a squat. How many people have you seen sprinting externally rotated? Not the good ones anyway. Have you seen the meme with Usain Bolt going like this? It's a little bit overdoing it, but you see how much internal rotation it creates, right? If you jump from a box and you catch yourself, you externally rotate, right? You internally rotate, even though you bend your legs. I've yet to see someone catching themselves like this. I mean, I'm sure you could do it, but I wouldn't advise it. So think about the power you get from internal rotation. Yet in lifting, we talk mostly about external rotation. How many of you deadlift externally rotate? Exactly. I know, that's a problem. Barbell rows, what position is that? A hinge. So you're supposed to be internally rotated. How many of you do that in internal rotation? How many of you do barbell rows? Always your hand, please. Even if you don't do it, fake it until you do. There you go. So, how many of you are like this when you do barbell rows? What does external rotation does? It locks your hips in. So stopping the hips from swiveling so that you can squat up and down. That's the great thing about internal rotation, is it stops the swivel. Right? Does that make sense? So that's what you use for a squat. For a hinge is a swivel of the hip, because we're not moving the knees anymore, we're just pivoting at the hip. So in order to get that swivel, I want to stay away as much from external rotation as I can, go to our internal rotation, which frees me for the pivot part of the hinge. Does that make sense? Okay, what happens if I externally rotate on a hinge? I lock my hips into place, right? Which means I'm not going to let the pivot happen correctly. Then what do I need to do? I need to bend and extend at the spine, because I lock the swivel into place. So what happens if you externally rotate on a deadlift? You're using your legs, and after that you're extending the back. So that looks like this, and then this, where my hips don't move. And then from here, I'm just squatting. So you're turning a hinge into a squat and a back extension. So that's why, if you go in external rotation all the time, you end up with those massive muscles right here that you see so much in CrossFit, like what they call the shark fins in the States. It's because they've turned everything external rotation, which makes them go from this position instead of that position. So this is why internal rotation for any hinge is so important. And unfortunately, very, very few people go through that.